to the Cherry City Punch. I'm Robert Sahlberg.
And I'm Heather Toller.
And we've been on hiatus.
We
but
have.
We're back
Have
now.
you missed us?
It's all about studio time. Heather, question for you.
Yes.
What does a insurance plan and a hospital gown have in common?
Yeah, never know how much they're going to cover you.
They never cover you as much as you thought they would.
Sorry.
Sorry, that's
We're talking about insurance jokes.
That's a little insurance humor.
Because that's my day job.
Heather claims that as an insurance agent, she does not have to be funny.
I don't have to be funny at all. Actually, people prefer it if I'm not funny.
So that's why you're so humorous on stage. You save it up all day long.
I do. I just store it up. Actually, most people, when they find out that I'm on theater, or into theater, they're surprised because they're like, wow, you seem like the most boring person I've ever met.
Wow.
That's the secret day job.
Okay. Well, you're like the Lois Lane of the insurance industry. Although Lois Lane wasn't a superhero, but I couldn't think of Wonder Woman. I couldn't think of Wonder Woman's secret name. What's her secret name?
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Post it on our Facebook page if you can remember Wonder Woman's. Like, what do you call those?
Who was she really?
AKA.
Like, no, she really was this person,
but what is that person
also
called?
known as Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I don't know what that's called.
I know
Isaac? Where's
Linda
Isaac when we need
Evans.
him?
Yeah.
Sandusky.
Okay, so Heather, what is on the cultural calendar?
Well, today we're going to be hearing from Lisa Joyce, the executive director at Pinnacle Theater. So she's going to be telling you about Pinnacle Theater. So we're excited about that. We do have also some exciting things going on in the art world. If you go to the Hallie Ford Art Museum, or excuse me, the Hallie Ford Museum of Art, I want to get that correct. Right now they have an exhibit called Nelson Sandgren, An Artist's Life.
I've noticed ever since Brian mentioned that we should have Hallie Ford on the show, you have made sure we have a Hallie Ford plug every single time.
We have
which we appreciate. And Hallie Ford, reach out to us. Get him on the show.
Well, he's from Corvallis and lived from basically recently just passed away in 2006. But it's going to feature his work. So it's a local artist. We do have also some exciting things going on in the music scene, Ameritidal Idol.
Have you entered or not?
I have not entered, but actually the majority of it took place every Wednesday in May, and the final one is going to be this next Wednesday, the 25th. So.
And what kept you out of that?
You know, I did not know about it. I saw a sign on the Halfpenny, which is where it's going to be located. And I didn't really understand, but I found out more today that it's actually live band karaoke. And every time they have this event, they actually collect funds and give it to local charities. So it's a pretty cool event. Yes, and the Flex Tones is the live band.
I know.
Goodness, who knew? So anyway, I'm learning a lot.
You could probably win that, actually, I bet.
Oh, that's very kind.
I bet. I mean, I think.
Live band karaoke is definitely more challenging than a karaoke track. That's for sure. Primarily because I think you have to be more of a musician. So. Well,
maybe y'all can see Heather karaoke sometime. She's got certain spots. We could have a Cherry City meetup. A Cherry City Punch meetup.
Yes. So also we have Western Oregon University. They're doing Shakespeare's Cymbeline. I'm feeling like I'm mispronouncing that, but it's 80s themed. So it's going to be set in the 80s. It's opening May 25th through the 28th. Kaiser Homegrown, their last weekend of Drop Dead is going to be the 27th and the 28th in the Kaiser Lions Auditorium.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and
I mentioned
Danny and the Deep Blue Sea closes this week, right?
Unfortunately, yes, it closes. I mentioned Lisa Joyce is going to be here talking about The Rainmaker, which is opening at the Pinnacle Theater, and that's opening the 27th, and then that's going to be running through June 18th. We also have Ann Peck McBride here from KMUZ's Theater Talk. So we'll be hearing about her show today.
All right, well, let's pop on over, speaking of Ann, to that little interview.
We'll do that.
All right, well, we're excited to introduce you to Ann Peck McBride. She is the host of Theater Talk on KMUZ, station identification.
KMUZ FM 88.5 and 100.7 FM, and streaming live around the world at kmuz.org.
There you go. And you also are the host of the co-host of the
of the Celtic Music Hour.
Celtic Music Hour, which we'll spend other time talking about.
Yes,
another time.
that's another show.
Also on KMUZ.
Also on KMUZ.
So, Ann, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
We're doing well. Heather and I are we're a little bit rusty.
Well, rusty and also nervous because here we are with someone that has done this.
I only did it for 5 minutes longer than you have. It's not like I've years of experience in
Yes.
it.
So what prompted you to start the show?
Well, I was doing the Celtic Music Hour, and Melanie Zermer had a show called Melanie in the Morning, and she interviewed all the people from the Laramie Project.
Oh, yes.
And it was great. And she said, why don't we have a theater show at KMUZ? Anne's done theater. Let's make Anne do it. so they basically made Anne do it.
Well, and so you did it.
Anne said yes.
Anne said, yeah, sure, I'll do it
fun.
for a while. Let's see.
Yeah, and so did you have like any goals or was it something that...
You know, I feel very strongly that there's a perception in Salem that in order to see theater, you have to go to Portland or Eugene. And this is not true. Yeah. There is tons of theater here in Salem. And I thought, wow, here's my opportunity to say to the public, go down the street and see theater. Don't get in the car and go up to the 5. You can see theater right here.
Yeah, I agree. It drives me crazy.
There's tons.
Yeah.
And I the first 6 months I think I had the Pinnacle and Kaiser Homegrown, and I had Verona Studios' first show, Lonesome Hollow, and the mic broke that day. It was an exciting performance. And Gallery Theater in McMinnville, and Albany Civic Light Opera. In Albany, of course, Almsville. You came with CET.
Yeah.
The people from Willamette. There are all kinds of things happening.
So, what year did Theater Talk start?
3 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, okay, well, that's
and
great.
it has grown
2013. And it has grown.
Hugely, right?
Because the first 6 months, I'd have a guest, and then I'd play some music. I played a lot of music, and I had a guest or two.
Yeah.
But now I have 2 or 3 guests, or maybe 4, and there's tons of people in the waiting room, and I have to kind of during my show go, well, thank you very much. So people have found out about it.
Yeah.
And another thing that really helps it is that because it's a talk show, it's podcast. You can't podcast a music show like the Celtic Music Hour because at KMUZ, we are not licensed to podcast. We do not spend the money to pay for that.
Oh yeah, for the music rights.
The music rights. We pay for the music rights to stream. And then with a podcast, with a talk show, you can put it on podcast. I cannot put it on podcast, but there are people at the radio station
know
who
how to do
can
such
put
things.
it on
Yes.
podcast, and they do. And so sometimes, at 9 o'clock on Friday morning, you might be at your job, but you can podcast it furtively on your computer at work, or you can when you get home. You can podcast it.
I listen to it in bed some nights.
Oh,
you.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
like
so
the only
That is
opportunity I
very
have.
intimate, actually.
So
He thinks of you as he's lying there.
Obviously, KMUZ is run by volunteers. So
Yes,
you have
it
people
is.
doing.
And thank you for reminding me. It's Pledge Week this week, and I just come from the radio station. We did a pledge show this morning for the Celtic Music Hour. We only exist when people give us money. I don't know how this place survives, but we have to have donors, and we can't keep the lights on without donors. We can't. It's not like anybody gets paid.
Yeah.
It's just equipment and transmitter and the rent.
Yeah.
Do you find yourselves with specifically something like KMUZ? You're constantly hitting up the same people because they're the ones that want to be involved, and because you want to be involved, you have a vested interest in donating to make it.
We try to find new people to hit up.
Yeah.
But loyal people, and we always have a few new ones.
So what does Pledge Week mean?
It means
those
that
that
I
may not be
beg for
interested?
money on the every 20 minutes on the hour, during the hour, and I'll be begging for money twice during the half hour on Friday. You call a number and you pledge, and
every show all day long, all week long is doing the same
just
thing.
like NPR,
Okay.
only for minuscule amounts compared.
And what's the actual date of the Pledge Week ending? Because we just want to clarify for those.
It ends the 20th on Friday, but you can always donate.
Yes.
You can call 503-990-6101 and give us money. We'll always take it. Good. Always.
Now, one thing that's kind of interesting about when Robert and I met Anne, I have to share this
that's
story
right.
because she was auditioning for Fiddler on the Roof.
That's right.
And it was maybe like the second day that you were in town.
Yes, I arrived on the 18th, and your auditions were on the 20th.
Yeah, something like that. And you had to like dig through a box even to get
to find something. Oh, I know all the words to this one.
So she just steps in and she sings this amazing song. And
where did
Robert,
you guys meet?
You were there too. Fiddler on the Roof audition.
No, but I thought you met her like before then.
No.
Okay, so you saw the audition
I just
notice.
stumbled into the audition.
Okay, I thought
and
you
we
two.
were like taken a
I just thought you two had met previously that I didn't know about, and you told me to come to the auditions.
I met both of you.
So you got here and found out about the auditions.
I actually found out about the auditions before I came to town because I had a friend in Los Angeles who was from Brooks.
Of all places.
And who had done the Pinnacle and who said, oh, there's the theater up there. You should look it up. I'm sure it's online. And so I did. And that's
there
I was. You know?
Well, Anne was a phenomenal Yenta.
It was a wonderful show. You did a great job, both of you.
And you're still connected to people from that show, right?
Yes, I am.
Which is the amazing thing about community theater is
you meet people that you really become friends with for your whole life. It's so true. I remember going to the Harvest Festival with you.
Yeah.
When we barely knew each other.
Like Little Lilla and
right.
You remember that and Gloria.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That was fun.
Memories.
Memories.
It is. But you create this community, especially in a show like Fiddler. It's so community oriented.
Fiddler is yes, but I truly am friends with the people that I and some of those little kids have grown up.
I know. Max is doing theater reviews now on Facebook.
And our bottle dancers are in college.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Joseph Allen is a sophomore.
Yeah.
Madison just graduated.
And Joseph is actually going to be playing Huck in either Huck or Tuck or one of the two in Tuck Everlasting in Connecticut.
Oh wow,
this
that's
summer.
Great.
So he got home. We should probably get him on the show.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really wonderful.
Really talented.
And Willie's in California, and Madison just graduated.
It's great.
Scary to think that.
I know they grew up. How did that happen? We didn't get any older.
I know. I'm still very youthful.
And Anne has been. So you've been in Fiddler.
Yes.
You also were just in Mary Poppins.
I did the Scottish play.
You did the Scottish play as well.
And I did. I was Auntie M in The Wizard
That's right.
of
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was. I was in that review.
The Broadway.
Yes.
And
then just most recently was Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. One of the problems that I have, because I am so busy, and that's why I do this, the fundraiser, the rehearsal period is very long. And it's necessary and it's good, but it's hard sometimes to block off that amount of time.
Especially if you're so busy with things like Theater Talk. Right?
Well, and Celtic Music Hour is every Friday night, which means if I'm going to be in a show, I have to find somebody.
Yeah, you have to give that up.
It's a long time.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, if someone wanted to get more information about your show, again, how would they find that?
They could go to Facebook. There's a Facebook page, Theater Talk, and they can go on the KMUZ website, kmuz.org. If they want to hear podcasts, they can go to the archives section on the right side, and a drop-down menu will bring up Theater Talk, and you click on it, and all of the podcasts.
Explain that again, because I can never find that. So go to the website.
Go to kmuz.org.
Well, he wants to listen to you when he's laying in bed.
I do. They're very interesting.
I love that. I can't tell you how much. So anyway. You go to kmuz.org.
Yes.
On the right side of the page, under Listen Live, you'll see Archives. Click on Archives, and a drop-down menu comes up. And you will see all the different shows, and you'll see down near the bottom, because it's T, Theater Talk. And you click on it, and and you can listen to what was last week, but you can listen all the way back.
No, there's ones I've missed that I haven't been able to find. So,
Thank you.
I'm going to listen.
Well, thanks so much for coming on our show, and thanks so much for Theater Talk.
Now you guys have to come on and talk about your show on my show.
We'd love
it's a deal. Thanks, Anne.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we are excited to introduce you to Isaac's mom. Or Lisa Joyce.
Lisa Joyce, who is also the executive director at Pinnacle Theater. And she is also Isaac's mother, so I think everyone is just empathizing with you,
Thank you very
right
much.
now. But actually, we do have 2 fans of Isaac's Corner, so at least 2.
Lisa
3.
Joyce.
3.
And Jennifer Kircher.
Oh, and
awesome.
Little. And Little.
And Little,
also.
too. And Little.
So
So
3.
Isaac's got a following.
Ack.
Lisa.
No, can I refer to him as Ack?
Ack, well,
Ack.
the Silverton curmudgeon.
Oh.
Lisa, tell us what's going on at Pentacle Theater right now.
Right now at Pentacle Theater, we're getting ready to open the Rainmaker on May 27th, and we're also in the throes of choosing our season for 2017. So it's kind of busy there.
So Urinetown just closed. Farcical comedy about a town in a water shortage, and now we go to Rainmaker.
Yeah, playing on the drought theme.
Playing on the drought theme.
Yes.
And I think that we're going to be looking to Tony Sett for some hints about drought. So that'll be kind of fun. But that wasn't the reason we chose this season, Robert. It's because it's a sweet dramedy.
Yes, and it's kind of a fairy tale, really.
Really. Yeah, it really is about a woman figuring out who she is and finding her own way.
Love it.
And so what do you think people are going to take away from the Rainmaker? What can they look forward to in that fairy tale?
Well, there are a couple things I think they're going to look forward to. One is just seeing this whole crop of new performers on the Pentacle stage. Just a fabulous group of young and older people who are new to the theater. And I think that's just a wonderful thing that community theater can do. I think they're also just going to be really touched by Lizzie's journey and how she goes from being kind of harangued and harassed by her brothers and her father to being her own person.
Excellent. So what are we looking forward to then beyond the Rainmaker? You said
So
you're in
next
the
up-
middle of picking the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when is the date that it opens? And how?
May 27th is
Okay.
when the Rainmaker opens, and tickets are available at pentacletheaterre.org. People do get confused, and
Yes.
they won't get their tickets if they go there. And then the next up is going to be The Aliens, directed by Jeff Brownson, and it's a really beautiful play. And again, we have a couple of new people on the Pinnacle stage, so I'm pretty excited about that. Beautiful and very moving play. And then, yes, so we are also in the middle of picking our season for 2017, and that process is a rather lengthy and extensive process because it's the most important thing the Pentacle Board does, is choose their season. And we'll be hearing proposals for plays that might be on the 2017 season this Sunday.
Yes.
And then when is the anticipated announcement?
We
People
will
can
be
look forward to that.
announcing at Art Fair.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what do you think that people are going to be looking for in a structure of a season? From your perspective as executive director, when that's probably some insight that normal people don't really get as far as what a theater, when they're putting together a season, all of a sudden there's these 8 plays that we're presenting, but there is a lot of behind the scenes
Yeah, so I think
that goes on.
the particular challenge with Pentacle Theater is that it's a director-driven process. So it's plays that the directors themselves are excited to bring forward. That yes, we've honed down a list and we've made a list for them to choose from, but they're coming forward with things that they're very excited about. The board doesn't pick a season and then recruit directors. We give them a list and then they propose from there. So the board's challenge is to find that balance of what challenges the directors artistically, and our audiences want different things. Some people like a drama, some people like a comedy, so you've got to balance those across the season. Of course, as an executive director, I'm also interested in making money, so we want to make sure that we are able to sell tickets. But I look at this process, and this is of course only my second time being through it, as really looking at how you can balance the resources of the organization and also look at what other things you can tie in. For example, I would love to put something, myself related to women during Women's History Month or something like that. So just
something
how
that
we can,
ties in the community.
yeah, so that we can really broaden the outreach of theater as we did so successfully with the Diary of Anne Frank.
And how did you, going from Anne Frank to Urinetown, how was the marketing different for those 2 shows? And do you think it was successful with Urinetown? Anne Frank has a name already, and so that is, a lot of that is piggybacking onto the name of Anne Frank, whereas you've got this other show, Urinetown, that you kind of have to...
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I do think that with Anne Frank, it could have not gone so well because everybody's seen The Diary of Anne Frank, everybody's read The Diary of Anne Frank. What we brought to this production was the amazing production quality. That cast was a very good ensemble with really, really strong direction and a great set design. But then we were also able to do some really cool things, bringing the Anne Frank Center for USA brought an exhibit to our lobby, so we were able to kind of expand the reach of the show. And the other thing I really liked about that show, and the reason it did so well, and we actually had sold out performances, is that people want to remember. They wanted to have that experience that live theater does so well, captures you in the emotions, and so you connect on a much deeper level with historical events than you would just reading a book.
Yeah, for sure. So what about Urinetown on the other end?
So on the other end, yes. So
an unfortunate name, right?
An unfortunate name, and really people did react to that. But I think what's exciting about marketing something like that for me is that it brings out our little marketing committee's creativity. You're saying, how can we sell this show? And so we did some things that were a little different. We had posters up in bathrooms around town.
A haiku contest.
We had a haiku contest, yes, and that was a ton of fun. So and really the community did engage, and I think it is extremely well received production. Not the sellout that Anne Frank was, but we hit our targets, and that was one tight show. You guys were amazing. I mean, I loved it. I saw it 3 times.
Oh, well, thank you.
And it just got better and better and better. And so
it was a lot of fun.
Those of you who didn't come,
well, and sometimes you want that where an audience was maybe reticent to see a show, didn't really go because they weren't sure about it, and that I do think there is a good quality on the other end for them to find out that people liked it, or to find out that it was successful, and maybe wish they had gone, so that the next time that comes around, maybe they'll take a chance.
Yeah. And we won't ever stretch and grow if we don't try those new things. And I think it was overall quite a success. And then again, new talent on our stage, to have Curleen there, she was fantastic, and just to me it was 100% success.
And I'm looking forward to seeing The Rainmaker, which is opening next
May
Friday.
27th.
May 27th. So.
Go ahead. What are you going to say? Huh? Okay. So you've been, I think, maybe people see the fact that the culture of Pentacle Theater has changed, and I think you're probably one of the change agents behind that. So can you talk a little bit about how the organization has morphed in, I mean, you've been 2 years, almost a full year as executive director.
That's amazing.
And I think a lot of what I hear and notice is people notice an organizational shift for the good. Not that we were in a bad place before, but hey, Pentacle Theater has changed the way they're doing these things. And so what was kind of your impetus to was that a purposeful, I'm going to change these things, or is it just what Lisa Joyce brings and the organization changes with the leader?
Well, both things. So one thing that's important to realize is that I didn't have an overlap much with my predecessor. And so a lot of what I did was just figuring it out as I went, and really just putting my shoulder to the wheel and just trying to figure out how do we do these things. My chief concern for the organization was its financial health. And we had a few years where we weren't doing that well financially. So that was where I put my focus. And I think having a focus on something really does help kind of define what's going to be on your priority list every single day. So we started a culture of asking people for money, thanking people for money, and really being focused on every communication I do, my newsletter, whatever. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you to our donors. It's a really important part of our culture. And if we don't have the community support, then we're not doing what the community needs. So that was a key thing. The other thing is I am a writer and communicator by training, and so communication is just something I'm much more transparent maybe than some people are accustomed to, where I'm putting newsletters out there all the time. And part of that's just me just not knowing sometimes what it is that's going to interest people, so I put it out there, test it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that emphasis on keeping people in the loop, because it is a community theater and we don't exist without people feeling engaged and plugged in. And then the other thing I will say is that and he was engaged with this prior to my arriving, but David Ballantyne taking over the social media stuff and being a real champion for that. That's not me, that's David.
Definitely.
So not only is Rainmaker coming up, but there's also ways that anyone can get involved with Pinnacle. So if somebody is watching us today and thinking, hey, I'm interested in maybe getting involved with Pinnacle, what's the best way for them to do that, do you think?
Well, it depends on what they want to do. We always have work for office volunteers, and actually now I have 3 or 4 office volunteers who are pretty regular, and that's just really great because now we have backup. We can take lunch hour, those sorts of things, and always big projects to do. But there are so many things to do, and if you want to call me or come into the office and visit, tell me what you're interested in doing, I can get you in touch with the right person. So maybe your interest is scrapbooking. Well, we have a history committee that's working really hard on pulling all of those things together. If you like to build, working on a set. If you want to learn what it's like to work backstage, shows are always looking for folks to do that. And then there's always auditioning, of course. I would send them to you.
Yeah.
All right, well, visit Lisa at the office, send her an email, and get tickets to the Rainmaker opening May 27th.
Thanks, Lisa, for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Isaac's Corner. I'd like to share with you a story about, well, something that's really affected my life. It's how I learned about Jesus. I was walking around town one day, and this guy came up to me. Sorry, I'm stepping on my mic cord. And he came up and he introduced himself. He said, "Hi, I'm Jesus." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was just kind of weird. He just kind of came up to me, looked like a normal guy, and I didn't really know what to think. And then he's like, "Hey, I'm Jesus Christ, by the way. Would you, I'm having some friends over to my house, and we're gonna go swimming." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, I'm sorry, but I just don't really feel comfortable with that because I don't know you. So, and then he was like, "Oh no, it's fine because I'm Jesus, and it's just a couple friends, and we're just gonna hang out in my hot tub." And I'm like, "Whoa, you said we were swimming?" And then he's like, "Well, I mean, in my hot tub," and I was like, "No, thank you. No, thank you." And well, he kind of gave up, and he walked away. He was well, it was an odd experience.
Heather, I'm glad to know that Isaac found Jesus.
Yes, or Jesus found him.
Well, either one, they need each other.
At it. Yes, and we hope that Isaac continues to decline hot tub invitations from strangers.
Well, that's, I think that's out of context, probably. So Anne's got an interesting show, and I hope that people will tune into Theater Talk.
And give money to KMUZ.
Yeah, and then get on over to Pinnacle and see a show or volunteer. They always need somebody to do something around that place.
Yes,
and we always need new people.
Yes, and so if you're interested in being on our show, Cherry City Punch, please email us at cherrycitypunch@gmail.com, or you can also message us on our Facebook page, Cherry City Punch. We are looking for people to come on the show, so if you have something that you actually just want us to talk about, maybe you don't want to be on the show, but you have an event coming up, feel free to share that with us.
Wandering Angus, we appreciate their sponsorship and their support of the show, and Anthem Cider. Next week, the Lovies.
Yes, find out.
That's a big show. Find out who the Lovies are.
They're famous.
They are. You're gonna want to see that. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for our guests, and we'll see you next time.